Within Garden Warfare 2 lies 8 different playable zombie classes, each boasting unique stats, weapons, and abilities. But unfortunately for the All-Star, unique does not necessarily mean useful in any way, shape, or form. The All-Star plays a tank-like role for the zombies, and despite having significantly above average health, deployable shield dummies, and a rev-up automatic football launcher, the two highlights of his kit are curiously very untank-like, those of course being Imp Hunt and Sprint Tackle. Now both are phenomenal abilities. Sprint Tackle is a high damaging burst movement option, and Imp Hunt is a short fuse cheap kill machine. The problem is that these two abilities really do not mesh with the rest of his kit all that well. His primary weapon is absolutely one of the worst in the game. Slow projectile speed, mediocre damage and fire rate, and the real killer is the fact that it's one of the very few primaries that has a rev up time and movement speed penalty. This makes him absolutely miserable at any kind of offense. Sprint Tackle has a lengthy cooldown, the shield dummies are very difficult to push with, and Imp Hunt has a very static effective range. If he is required to do anything except defend a 20 by 20 square foot space, he's getting smacked. Is he annoying at times? Absolutely. An all-star at close range with abilities at the ready is bound to get 1 or 2 cheap kills, but after that, he is absolutely useless. Now the engineer, on the other hand, I would even go as far to say that he is slightly better than useless, having solid movement, a stun grenade, and a very good turret, but he's just lacking that X factor that makes a class truly dangerous. His primary does hit like a truck, but the wonky projectile and fire rate just make it horribly awkward to use, and the stun grenade is a free way to get some easy damage, but it's a one and done ability. I personally feel like a little itty bitty mosquito buzzing around when I play engineer. I jackhammer in, deal a few measly points of splash damage, throw a grenade, realize that I can't compete at range and I only have 125 health, and then get promptly disintegrated. He doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, but outside of building teleporters and smoking Chomper Pack, I don't think he has any real use. Now for this next one, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I feel like this entry might just be a skill issue on my part. When I play Hovergoat, I always feel like I can do better, contribute more. He's the only non-healing support in the game, and because of that, I feel like you have to operate a very rush-heavy offense. He has a speed boost that, when activated around teammates, boosts their movement speed as well as your own, and a damage boost beam that boosts the targeted teammate's damage by 30%. So I feel like there's a hypothetical scenario where the whole team coordinates a push and you pop your speed boost, leading the charge as you hook up your damage beam to an imp mech, and you just roll over the enemy. The issue is that I have never seen this happen, not even once. Either there aren't enough people around to get the speed boost, or the person I hook the beam up to misses all of their shots and dies. And he's not really that great solo either, because his turret ability low-key sucks, the damage boost beam doesn't do anything without a partner, and the speed boost is pretty good, but it just doesn't make up for his horrible primary. Going into this video, I didn't think it was that bad, but as soon as I had to gather clips for this piece of shit, the sheer amount of agony that was inflicted upon my very soul was astounding. PopCap just took the very reliable, good, pure, honest soldier primary and made it worse in every single way possible. So really, you're just forced to play as this horrible mishmash of scientist and foot soldier without the key attributes that make them great. Something that cannot be said for the Imp, a true one-of-one, pint-sized powerhouse. He has a small hitbox, great movement, an aggressively inaccurate yet shreddy primary, and 2 of the best abilities in the game. Gravity Grenade locks plants in place and prevents them from using abilities, and Z-Mech is the Z-Mech, a short-lived transformation ability that lets you steamroll everything in sight. His only downside is that he has an extremely low amount of health. This doesn't come into play super often as his tricky movement allows you to dodge most of the incoming enemy fire, but he does get absolutely crushed by a few different things. If a fire character breathes on you, kiss a third of your health goodbye. If you get stunned, you lose all of your fancy movement options and your small hitbox doesn't matter. And if a cactus gets a few lucky shots, even if you're at full health, it's over. So while you can go on tears with his movement or his mech, the slightest bit of damage or stun means it's lights out. But why risk being damaged by the enemy when you can just hang out in the backline 10,000 miles away from everybody? If that sounds like a good time, then I believe Captain Deadbeard is the class for you. The pirate has a very strange kit because he's essentially put all of his eggs into one basket, that being his scoped-in primary. Normally he walks around with a pitiful close-range shotgun, but when you zoom in, it actually changes completely to a long-range semi-auto sniper, and boy, it will tear you up. Any range, any character, if you have good aim, you're going to decimate anything that enters your line of sight. I'd say his primary is probably the best in the game, so that makes him an absolute backline demon. But you won't be doing a lot of objective pushing because, as I said earlier, that primary is basically the only thing he has going for him. He has the weakest lineup of abilities in the game. Parrot is obviously solid, but his cannon is basically useless and the barrel is extremely situational. His health and movement are nothing special, and frankly, the fact that I think he's still in the upper half of zombies is a testament to just how busted that primary weapon really is. But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the Scientist, a rushdown specialist and the most enjoyable support character I have ever played. The reason I love the Scientist so much is because he is a support that is best played on the front line. His slug shooting shotgun is absurdly powerful at close range, and it's pretty easy to close the distance with his above average speed and especially warp. And it actually isn't just warp, all of his abilities are really good. They give him mobility, burst damage, and multiple different ways to heal himself and others. He thrives the most when you play him like a dive character. You gotta warp in, throw down some healing, smack the enemy upside the head, and then warp out. And he can reset to max health really quickly if you equip both of his self-healing abilities. His biggest issue is just the lack of a ranged presence and his low health. You stand zero chance at long range, and it's best to just avoid big open areas entirely. But once you're in a favorable position with your abilities ready to go, there are very few plants that can react to his insane DPS and escape their fate. And our next entry, and my personal favorite hero, Super Brains, is in a similar boat because of his Chomper-esque melee primary. I feel as if it's a bit controversial to declare him as the second best zombie in the game, so allow me to try and share my point of view on his playstyle. The goal is to remain undetected by the enemy for as long as possible until you're primed to strike. Use your floaty jump to get into position, and once the time is right, heroic kick directly into the enemy's face and beat them to death. His point blank damage is the best in the game and will delete anything in seconds. Because you have extremely high health and not one but two heroic kicks, I'd say you have an 85% chance of escaping scot-free after you get your crucial pick. And if you want, you can stay in the fight by throwing out a Hadouken or by utilizing your secondary weapon, the beam, which is shockingly underrated by the way, as it has extremely high DPS at close to mid-range. Chances are, you'll still be able to make an escape combining his jump, kick, and Spinjitzu, because while it used to be a highly irritating and high damaging option, it got nerfed through the floor and is now used as a shield of sorts to reduce incoming damage while you twirl away. Super Brains is a monstrous demon at close range and remains a formidable threat from mid-range, but the reason he's so good is because if you're not in a favorable position and you can feel the heat creeping up on you, it could not be easier to get out of dodge and flee to safety. But what about the king? What about the greatest character in Garden Warfare franchise history? What about the Foot Soldier? Otherwise known as the GOAT, I consider Foot Soldier to be the best zombie class because of his impenetrable fundamentals. His primary is the best in the game. It shreds at all ranges and is extremely accurate and reliable. His movement is amazing, particularly with the use of Rocket Leap. ZPG and Stink Cloud are situational, admittedly, but still very useful abilities to pad his kit. The fact of the matter is that he is the most consistently strong character in the game. He has no bad range, and if you're in a bad position, pop your smoke and Rocket Leap out of there. And those same abilities can be used to play aggressively as well. He can lock down a good angle, he can leap around the map and engage whatever target he wants, and he is never, ever out of a fight until he is fully put down. His resilience and consistent map-wide pressure is why I believe he is the best zombie in the game. And if you disagree with the list, then flame my opinions all you want. But I don't think the Foot Soldier's crown is ever going to slip.